And this is held every single December, and it's become Colorado's largest, biggest giving movement, really bringing communities together and supporting those local nonprofits. So this is why we felt that it was just such a great opportunity to host an event like this today on Colorado Gives Day. So we're really excited that you all are here. You were able to join. So now I'm going to turn it over to our moderator for the next hour. She's also our board member of CFA, and that's MJ Thompson.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Lunch, Learn, and Give event hosted by Colorado Fertility Advocates. We also have not just myself, but many CFA board members on the call as well to help answer any questions that you might have. We ask that you put those questions in the chat when they come up, and we'll try to answer them if we have time. As a reminder, please don't share anything too personal in the chat. This meeting will be recorded and posted to our website. So what will we learn today? The agenda for the next hour will consist of short presentations from each panelist, sharing information about the amazing work that they do. So once each group has presented, we'll ask the panelists some questions. And at that time, if you'd like to ask a question, please use the chat pod. So we're going to get started. We've only got an hour. So our first presenter is Pamela Cohen-Hirsch from BabyQuest. Her careers have included being a teacher in Texas and later in Northern California. In 1985, she became owner of a branch of the Princeton Review, an educational test prep company, and in 2001, when the company went public, temporarily retired. In 2011, after witnessing her daughter undergo several years of infertility treatments, Pamela established BabyQuest Foundation, a nonprofit charity awarding financial help for procedures such as in vitro fertilization and gestational surrogacy. Since its inception, BabyQuest, a volunteer-run organization, has granted more than 150 awards, totaling over $2.2 million. There are over 100 BabyQuest babies throughout the United States. Take it away, Pamela.
Thank you very much for the intro. By the way, we have awarded $3.2 million. We're $1 million ahead. And we have helped produce 183 babies as of yesterday. So that's since 2011. Again, thank you very much for allowing me and the opportunity to speak about BabyQuest, which is obviously something that I'm extremely passionate about. If you can see this slide, I don't want to just do a reading because everything on all of the slides that I'm going to present is included on our website, which is babyquestfoundation.org. BabyQuest gives grants 2 times a year. We award grants for anything from egg freezing through gestational surrogacy, egg and sperm donation, embryo donation, giving a grant for IVF if you need to eliminate a genetic disease such as cystic fibrosis. We have a special wing called Operation BabyQuest, which is for veterans, military, past and present. We give grants to those who have been robbed of their fertility because of cancer. So a multitude of reasons and reasons that we give grants. Our application fee, as you can see, is $75. We open our next series of grants, our grant cycle, on January 2nd, and the deadline will be March 7th. We'll do that again in September, having a deadline in September. So we do this 2 times a year. Again, if you look at our website, which is very complete, a lot of times people just write and they say, well, can you help us? And obviously we want to help as many people as we can, but we do want you to look at the website because even in speeches like this, it's so easy to forget a detail and you want to know everything before you apply. If you want to go to the next slide, I don't know if you can. We talk about, thank you, what is a BabyQuest grant? Well, it is a grant. It's not a loan. We don't ask you to fundraise for us. And if I could I don't know exactly how much time I have, but if I could summarize this entire page and say, what would you really need to know? I would say that Baby Quest is inclusive. You do not have to be married. You can be single. You can be in a same-sex relationship. You can be basically, we have given grants to transgender couples. We have two grants that we awarded. They both have babies to two transgender couples. The amount of the grant, we really want to give everybody the opportunity to proceed within the next 3 months with your treatment. In other words, if you need $15,000 and we give you 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 or even 5,000, you still have to save money in order to proceed with treatment. And lately, I could say that 10 years ago, when we gave a grant for IVF, we could give $7,000, $8,000, and it's just about covered. Now the prices have gone up, and genetic testing is often required or definitely suggested, recommended, highly recommended. Therefore, our grants have now increased. They are given by need. It is what the person needs, but they do go up to at least $20,000. And they often do include medications because we have agreements with some of the pharmaceutical companies for complementary medications. So it is a grant that pretty much, I would say, 90% covers 90% of the expenses of what you can't afford as far as IVF or surrogacy. Obviously, it's a little bit different because of the cost. Um, and what have we accomplished since 2011? If you look at our last slide, um, that should be coming up soon. Since 2011, we have given out $3.2 million to, I believe, something like 250 grants. We just had baby number 183 a few days ago. We have 17 current pregnancies. I hate to even write down the statistics because every time I do, we have more babies, but I believe that we will finish the year with 183. Each grant cycle, we are now pleased to award at least $250,000. Last year, when we calculate everything, I believe we will have awarded 470,000 to 32 recipients. And as I said, each grant cycle, we now are able to give out at least 240 to $270,000 per cycle. Um, I'm happy to answer any questions. We are located, our headquarters is in Los Angeles. We will be having a huge gala. This is one of our first major events. We had a shopping event the last 2 years. We will have a gala in Beverly Hills on April 26th. Obviously, there will be more information given in that, but if you're local and interested, we'd love to hear from you. If you're a business, and would like to be a sponsor, we definitely would like to have you involved. This is a chance for us to fundraise and award even more grant money to those who apply. And every cycle, we find that it is extremely sad because we can't award, we can't select everybody who applies. And yet, there are so many deserving stories. There are so many families who have devastated their savings and really need hope to continue. I hope that if there are any questions, that you will submit them. Our email is bqfoundation@gmail.com if you have any personal questions. And hello to some of our recipients. I just saw a comment from one of our most recent babies. And thank you to Colorado Fertility Associates for inviting us today. I will turn this back. MJ?
Hi, yes, thank you so much, Pamela. Really incredible work that you guys are doing. So thank you for sharing. Next, we're going to hear from Lindy Mower from the Hope for Fertility Foundation. And hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Lindy is the president of the Hope for Fertility Foundation. After 4 years of going through infertility and while living abroad, she and her husband completed 2 rounds of IVF. The second round resulted in a successful pregnancy and the birth of her first child. After moving home from living abroad, where the cost of IVF was a fraction of what it costs in the US, she joined the Hope for Fertility Foundation, and she is passionate about helping to ease the costs of treatment to others who are also experiencing infertility. Since joining Hope for Fertility, she's added twins and a sweet baby boy through IVF. She loves bringing hope to others through financial assistance for infertility treatments and adoption. And
thank
take
you.
it away, Lindy.
Thank you, MJ. It was such a pleasure to hear Pamela. I love Baby Quest. We are so grateful for people who want to give money to help people in the cause. Just like our slide says, we offer grants to couples all across the United States who are struggling with infertility. And our grants go toward infertility treatments, surrogacy, and gestational carrier and adoption. And just like Pamela said, we offer grants to help with many different things as well. We do embryo adoption also, and egg donors, and there's so many different things that people need help with. Some few things, I don't know the next slide, different. We only give out grants up to $10,000. Like we wish we could give more, but I think we strongly believe in like people being invested in their infertility journey, and so we like to help ease the cost, but we know it won't cover everything. I don't know, do you have the next slide? Is it working? Is it not? Okay, perfect. So we offer grants. There's no age limit. We do adoption and kid limit. We have people who go through secondary infertility and also genetic testing they need. We do it. I'm not sure how other grants do it, but we don't do a lottery system. We just we receive all the applications, and we have a grant committee who reviews everything. And we're a national grant. We've given grants to 45 different states, couples in 45 different states, which we love that. We can represent all of them, and we're true volunteers. A few years ago, the founders decided that they could no longer continue the foundation, and so a group of us on the grant committee, there was 5 of us who were all gone through IVF or different treatments to have our children, and we were so passionate. We wanted to keep it alive. So we honestly are just, we're not very professional, but we want to give money, and so we've kept this foundation going. And if you can go to the next slide, since 2016, which the foundation was started, we've been able to grant over $1 million. We're almost to 200 grants awarded. This year we reached 100 babies born or adopted, which we were so excited about. And like I said, we've represented 45 different states and 15 babies on the way. We also have 2 grant cycles. They're pretty similar. We do one at the beginning of the year and then in July. And you can find all this information on our website. It's www.hopefertility.org. So thank you for letting us be here, and we'd love to answer any questions. You can always email us, and we love giving money away, so we're excited.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that overview. This is Christina. Hi, I am monitoring the chat. And before we move on to the next panelist, I just wanted to check that Pamela, we had a question about how many applicants do you typically get per cycle? Oh, if you're talking, you're on mute, Pamela. Oh.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, now we can hear you.
We get, let's see, this last cycle, I believe we had over 700 applications, and we gave out 18 grants.
Okay, thank you.
And the grants, I should say the grants, that's what totaled, I believe, $260,000.
Wow, that's so great to hear. Awesome. Okay, that was the question we had. Lots of really wonderful comments. Keep them coming in the chat about the wonderful work you guys do and recipients. Thank you everyone for being here. All right, back to the panelists. I just want to make sure that question didn't get lost.
Awesome. Thanks, Christina. And thank you so much, Lindy, for sharing the wonderful work that you guys are doing. Now we're going to hear from Amanda Rice at Chick Mission. Amanda Rice is an entrepreneur who heads the ARC Consulting Group by day and serves as a fierce advocate for women's reproductive rights by night. Her need to assist patients newly diagnosed with cancer navigate fertility preservation was born from frustration and her own 3-time battle. After being denied coverage by her insurance carrier ahead of chemotherapy and radiation, she covered the costs of a cycle on her own. However, the idea of other patients choosing not to pursue preservation simply because of the cost barrier didn't sit well. Thus, the Chick Mission was born. Amanda's tenacity and desire for strategy and fundraising has catapulted the organization forward, and to date, the Chick Mission has assisted 590 plus women preserve their fertility ahead of cancer treatment that would have likely rendered them infertile. Take it away, Amanda.
Thanks, guys. And Pamela, I mean, I have been an admirer for many years and we've connected before. And Lindy, it's so great to hear, about your passion for the space. I just want to thank CFA. Like, you guys have been, just such a fierce group of advocates on behalf of a multitude of situations that people are challenged with in the fertility landscape. So as MJ mentioned, I'm a 3-time survivor in my 30s, and I actually worked for a company that had fertility benefits. But when I went to freeze my eggs before treatment, the insurer told me I wasn't infertile yet, so I did not qualify. And that was probably the lowest of the low. I had had a couple of previous diagnoses of cancer. This was the 3rd time. I didn't even cry. I just cried like a baby, literally, when I was on the phone with that insurer, being just completely rejected. The standard definition of infertility is trying for 6 months without success at the age that I was at that time. It just made no freaking sense to me that somebody would use that, to block me from treatment. And I was very lucky. I had an established career in finance. I had some savings. I was able to freeze my eggs ahead of treatment. But I just kept thinking about all of the people that I grew up with, the teachers, physical therapists, my sister, who's an artist, could not come up with $15,000 in an emergency situation. You have a few days to make that decision once you get diagnosed with cancer. So that was really the fuel behind my fire. I landscaped, I searched and searched for the other organizations out there that really influenced what I chose to focus my efforts on. So, folks like Baby Quest, the Cade Foundation. I mean, there's just so many amazing organizations, and you each have like your either very specific or broad niche. And so I decided that I was going to be laser focused on this very, very small but mighty patient population of those who have just been diagnosed and are just getting so many things thrown in their direction, and they have an immediate need for funding. So I, started this with some of my best friends, my doctor, my mother. And today, fast forward, actually, MJ, we, because we're real time. So we just approved our 604th grant. We have committed over $4 million in, just fantastic donor dollars to, freeze over 7,000 eggs. Our 7th baby's on the way, but we have so many young adults who still have to go through treatment that, will end up having, I just think this kind of snowball effect. We're going to have just so many babies one day. And the other thing that we do is really educate people so they understand, less than half of patients get told about the risk of infertility when they have cancer. And then final, kind of my favorite part of it is the advocacy work. And I think I've worked with, everybody on this call in one way or another to get laws changed and insurance coverage for fertility preservation or IVF or both. And we are not going to stop until we pass laws in every single state and at the federal level, because we ultimately just want to put ourselves out of business. So I just appreciate everybody on this call so much. You know, everybody's struggles have, you know, really influenced their passion and their focus on hope for the future. So, and I'm here with my sidekick, Nola, who is my baby. So thank you guys so much. And just mentioning, we are actively focused on legislation for 2025 for a Medicaid bill in New Jersey, a Medicaid bill in New York, a bill in Florida, and a bill in Georgia. So if anybody on the call is a constituent, please reach out to us. And we're just thechickmission.org, or find us on social media, just Google us. And we'd love to hear from you. So thank you guys.
Thank you so much, Amanda, for sharing. Up next is Erin Rubin and Deborah Michaud with the Jewish Fertility Foundation.
Thank you, MJ. My name is Erin Rubin. I am here in Denver. I'm part of the Jewish Fertility Foundation. And just like Amanda said, I am thrilled to be among such an amazing group. I believe have worked with every organization on this call in some capacity. And there are different niches, and we love being able to refer, if there's somebody that we can't help, to be able to refer them to Baby Quest or Chick Mission or whoever we can find that may be able to help them out. So our mission at JFF, we were founded in 2016 in Atlanta by Ilana Frank, who went through her own journey both in Israel and then in the United States. And so again, like everybody else, founded JFF out of a passion, just realizing how much more IVF costs in the United States as compared to Israel, where it was pretty much fully covered, and wanted to be able to kind of give back and help others. So I joined the organization in early 2023, and I'm now the managing director of programs. So our mission is to engage hopeful parents by providing kind of basically 3 different buckets. So there's financial assistance, emotional support, and then infertility education as well to those who are struggling to build their families. I was pulling up some of our numbers as everybody else is mentioning them. So we started in 2016. We've given out 338 grants, over $2.4 million. We've had 211 babies born who received either financial or emotional support. And we currently have 77 babies on the way. And, you know, I'm so glad to be here too, because it's such a need right now, and it's growing. We actually saw a 76% surge in grant applications from 2023 to 2024, which is incredible. So the need is very much there. But just briefly to go over how our grants work, they are for IUI and IVF only. It does include if somebody's using a surrogate. Our IUI grants are for 1,000, IVF are for up to 10,000. And then we do partner with clinics. So we're partnered with 4 here in Denver. We are a location-based organization. So we currently have 9 locations. So applicants do need to be living in one of our cities, which you can find on our website, in order to apply for a grant. And then they do have to work with one of our partnering clinics. And the good part about that is that the clinics then do offer up to 20% off as well. So those are great partnerships that really help save money. So we always tell people who are like, I'm not sure if I should apply, maybe I make too much money. We don't have a cutoff. You know, how much money they make, but we always encourage people to apply, because even if we only give you $1,000, $2,000, you're still going to get that 20% off, which is a huge help as well when you are going through fertility treatments. And then we also partner with 3 pharmacies currently for medication discounts. So our constituents can just reach out to the pharmacies and say, hey, I'm working with JFF. Like, what's the best price you can give me for this medication? I know medications can be very expensive as well. So just another little way to help. One difference with our grants, well, 2 really. One is it's rolling applications throughout the year. So applicants can apply at any time. But the other piece is that our grants are only available to Jewish individuals or interfaith couples. So basically, if it's a partnership, one or more of the partners does need to be Jewish. So that's kind of our grants. And if we can go to the next slide. our emotional support is a huge part of what we offer. And I know everybody else that has spoken already has kind of talked about the toll that infertility treatments can take. So we do offer a few different options for emotional support. We have local infertility support groups here in Denver for both primary and secondary infertility. I myself went through secondary infertility, and we heard from a lot of people in both groups that they wanted to be separate, which I completely understand. It is a different experience, I think, if you're trying for your first child versus if you're kind of trying to have that second child instead. So we do have local infertility groups. They are both in person and virtual. So we've got a couple of options. And then we have some amazing national support groups for pregnancy after infertility for men specifically, who are often kind of left out of the equation, for surrogacy, we have an oncofertility one for those that are previvors or survivors of cancer trying to get pregnant, for genetics, LGBTQ plus, we have a national support group as well. So lots of options, and we keep throwing out more because we want to try to be able to support as many people as possible. For emotional support, we also offer a program called Fertility Buddies. This is our peer-to-peer support program. So this is where we take somebody that's currently on a fertility journey, we match them up with a veteran, is what we call them, or somebody that's kind of been through it. And they just provide that peer-to-peer support if that person just wants to call and complain or send a text message about how frustrated they are with the financial department, which I know happens a lot. Basically, it's just really nice to get that peer-to-peer support. We have online support in the form of just social media, blogs, newsletters, that kind of stuff as well. And all of the emotional support programs are free and open to anyone, regardless of religious background. And then on our last slide, I will talk about educational programming as well. So we do community-based infertility sensitivity trainings for clergy members. So we'll go and we'll meet with them and kind of teach them what to say, what not to say, basically just how to best support those in their communities that are going through infertility. We also do training for our fertility clinic partners and medical professionals on the special needs of Jewish patients, especially the more observant Jewish patients. And then we do a lot of events in each of our cities as well. We do panel conversations where we have experts come and talk about the different pathways to parenthood, whether that includes surrogacy, adoption, IUI, IVF, third-party reproduction. And then we'll do other ones called like Loving Someone with Infertility to help support, maybe a mom of someone going through infertility and how they might need support as well. And then we do like just nights off infertility, just trying to build a community so that people feel less alone, so that they can find others on a similar journey, create that community and have somebody to commiserate with or to share joy with when there's good news. So yeah, thank you to CFA for having us. We're really glad to be here.
Thank you so much, Erin, for sharing. And to be honest, Amanda, your story hit me right in the feels. So I forgot to give Erin her intro, and I really want to make sure that you are get that as well. So Erin Rubin is the managing director of programming. She was born in Denver, calls Colorado home for most of her life, and worked in marketing in various industries for the past 20 years before joining JFF as the Denver manager in May 2023. In January of 2024, she accepted a promotion to managing director of programming and enjoys helping city managers around the country create and manage events, programming, and support for those communities. Erin and Danny experienced secondary infertility while trying to grow their family after the birth of their first son. After several rounds of IUI and IVF, they were thrilled to welcome their second son. And after opening up to friends about her own experience, Erin realized that the number of individuals and couples affected by infertility is quite large. She is so excited to grow JFF in the Denver community and around the country, and looks forward to helping those affected by infertility find the emotional, financial, and educational support that they need, that she's discussed here in her presentation. And she knows that each person's infertility experience is unique, and hopes to help individuals and couples feel less alone as they navigate this difficult process. So thank you so much, Erin.
Thank you, MJ.
And MJ, we did have a question about, are the support groups that Erin mentioned here led or led by a mental health professional?
That is a great question. They are peer-to-peer support groups. However, they are facilitated by a licensed mental health professional, whose role is really just to make sure that the conversation stays on track and all of that. But yeah, so they're peer-to-peer, but they are facilitated by a licensed professional.
Great. Thank you. That's good to know.
Thanks, Erin. Okay, so now we're going to hear from Kristen Young from the CADE Foundation. Kristen M. Young is the communications coordinator for the Tanina Q CADE Foundation, a nonprofit organization supporting families overcoming infertility by offering grants up to $10,000 for fertility treatment and domestic adoption support. Since 2005, they've supported over 200 families and welcomed over 90 babies to the CADE Foundation family. Kristen's focus over the last 7 years has been to support grant recipients with a safe space to continue their journey while sharing access to resources in the fertility community. Kristen holds a bachelor's degree in communication studies from Morgan State University in Baltimore, Maryland, and a master's degree in counseling psychology from Bowie State University in Bowie, Maryland. Thank you. Take it away.
Greetings. So I won't belabor the point because I know we're all here with pretty similar goals. And I'm excited to see, again, as we've mentioned, so many familiar faces and opportunities to connect with amazing organizations. So as mentioned, our primary focus is supporting families overcoming infertility. The CADE Foundation is turning 20 next year. We are very excited. And it all started because our founders, Doctors Jason and Camille Hammond, went through their own fertility journey. They struggled with infertility, for roughly 5 years as a couple before their very insistent mother, Dr. Tanina Cade, who we are named after, she insisted on being a gestational carrier, and she therefore carried the triplets who you see in this photo, who are actually a little bit older now. They are sophomores in college. They'll actually be turning 20 at the end of this month. So it's an amazing story. And for Dr. Jason and Camille Hammond, their thing was simply, I want to give back to another family. We struggled. We were able to overcome. How can we support another family going through a similar journey? And that's how the CADE Foundation was born in 2005. So from there, we were able to help that one family. And as mentioned, we have now over 200 families that we've been able to support through our grant, and countless families we've supported through educational programs. So if you move to the next slide, I'll share a little bit more about our mission. So those two things, those are our primary focuses with the CADE Foundation. One, supporting families through our grants, which are up to $10,000, and we offer that twice a year. And then we also have informational, educational resources and fundraisers and events that we host to support. Because a lot of times when you first get hit with that news, you don't know where to go. You don't know where to turn. You don't know what options are out there. And as you see, this is just a small portion of organizations represented here throughout the country. But there's so many others, and there's so much information, but you don't know what you don't know. So we have one of our missions is to make sure we're educating others and making sure we're putting the information out there, sharing resources, sharing other grants on our website, letting you know that you have options. You do have hope. You do have support. You can move to the next slide. Thanks. So I know the grant is always the exciting piece. So just to share, as far as our grant, as mentioned again, we offer grants up to $10,000 for those who are pursuing IVF or domestic adoption. So anywhere in the U.S., our only requirements are that you are a U.S. citizen or permanent resident, and you have an official medical diagnosis of infertility. So that's all you need in order to submit an application. And our grants they close on February 1st and July 1st of each year. So we do have a grant open right now, which will close in about 6 weeks. And then we have our grant that is offered It'll open roughly in March and then close on July 1st. So again, the only requirements, U.S. citizen or permanent resident, and official medical diagnosis of infertility. You can move to the next slide. So this is all of our contact information. We do the best we can as far as social media. But if you have any questions, you can always inbox us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We cover all of those bases. And then, of course, emailing us. And I can share my direct email in the chat as needed or in follow-up. But you can definitely go to our website, cadefoundation.org, to learn more about us, to find the application. We also have a sample application on our website, so you can have an idea of what is requested before you get started. And I look forward to any questions throughout the rest of the program.
Thank you so much for your time, all of you. We would love to kind of move into our question portion of our time together. We're going to start with some frequently asked questions to hopefully provide you with more support and information. For the CHIC mission, what are some ways that the community can get involved to help further your mission? And how can families that need your services find you or connect with you?
Yeah, I mean, we love to hear people's stories. You know, we love to have passionate volunteers, you know, join us in our initiatives across the country. We actually work in 8 states currently, so you can go to our website and find out what those are. But as we help to pass legislation and raise more money, you know, the intention is to grow that. And ultimately, when the insurance and Medicaid patients are covered in a state, we can take those dollars and move on to the next state. So the exciting thing that's going on in CHIC mission land is really our expansion into both Montana and Florida, our advocacy efforts, which we have used the internet and AI and all of these great resources that are at our fingertips to construct very simple ways for anybody that is a resident in any state where we're working on legislation to write a letter of support. And this isn't like you starting with a blank piece of paper. This is a template's already been written, an eloquent one from our snarky executive director. You can edit it. All you need to do is put in your name and address, and it'll automatically generate a letter of support. So what I would ask everyone to do who's dialing in, we don't spam you, so just sign up for our newsletters or follow us on Instagram at CHIC Mission, and just stay tuned, because at some point in the not so near future, there's going to be a way, you know, outside of donations, which we will happily take, for you to get involved and for to use your voice to right a wrong and to help pay it forward and help that next person. And really, with helping people that need our services, we are hoping they'll make families one day. We help educate and advocate on behalf of both, you know, women and men. Our grants go to young women for egg freezing. And I am typically TMI, so I'm going to go there. I was married when I was going through my cancer journey, but not very happily. And so what we've decided as an organization is really to cover egg freezing on the fly. And because of all these great organizations like you guys, you know, once they're past their cancer journey, they can hopefully get assistance or be able to save up to go to the next phase of this journey. Embryos, as we all know, are joint property. So we cover egg freezing, and our patients reach out in so many different ways. They DM us, they you know, write us letters, they reach out to their oncologists know about us, their reproductive endocrinologists know about us, and we just try to like shout it from the rooftops. There's so many different resources that we list on our website as well, thanks to all of you and your efforts. So no matter where they are in their journey, and not everybody who's diagnosed with cancer has the time or even is threatened with infertility, because you may have already had your children. You may need a type of treatment that isn't going to affect the quality and quantity of your eggs. So dig in deep. We give a lot of guidance and support. I mentor a ton of new survivors, but those are my answers.
Thank you so much for sharing, Amanda. We are going to turn it over to Baby Quest for a few questions. What do families need to know before applying for a grant? And what is the best way to support your organization at this time?
Let's see, I'm not on mute, correct? You can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. The technological stuff of this is the worst part. What do they need to know? We always tell people, please do your homework. It is so difficult to try to read the website to somebody or to have somebody call and say, well, explain how the program works. We really ask that you look at the website, you read what's there, you do your homework first. It's really there to give you all the information. We have blogs, we have tips, we like what's the best way to apply, what things do you need to know before applying. So many helpful hints that people sometimes ignore. And yes, it is a competitive process. I'm sure for every one of the organizations, none of us can fund everybody who applies. So it's really important to know what we do, to know what we offer. As I said before, yes, our grants are large, but everybody needs to be vested in this. We will ask you, what portion can you contribute, whether it's $1,000 or $1,500, whatever. It takes a village. It's kind of a trite phrase, but it's true. And what's the best way to support your organization at this time? I'm sure all of us at this time, end of the year, tax donation time, would say, please send a donation. That's pretty basic. But other ways that you can support us. We have a page on our website that talks about that. If you have a birthday coming up, you can do a fundraiser for your birthday. We're extremely active on social media, on Instagram, and on Facebook. Your company. Can your company donate? Can your company be a sponsor? Can your company do matching donations? That's another way to support. If you have a baby, maybe you've gone through IVF, you have a friend who's gone through IVF, you're having a birthday party, you're having a shower, you're having an anniversary. If you ask people to do donations instead of giving gifts, that's a way to support. And talking, opening up the dialogue, not sweeping this under the carpet, being fortunate enough nowadays to know that there are organizations like the one that have spoken today that are out there to help and to give hope. And I have to just add a personal note. I'll probably start crying. I have two daughters. One was the catalyst for Baby Quest. She went through 4 IVFs, pregnant every time, lost the babies at 9 weeks every time after hearing a heartbeat because she had a uterus that was messed up, and fast forward 2 children via surrogacy and owns Abundant Beginning Surrogacy Agency. My other daughter, thank goodness, already had children, but Amanda, when you were talking, she suffered from triple negative breast cancer, went through 7 months of chemo, complete mastectomy, double mastectomy reconstruction. And my heart goes out to anybody who is unfortunate enough to have had this happen, not only happen, but happen before you're lucky enough to have children. So I just think it's great that there are opportunities and there's talk now. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you so much, Pamela. This next set of questions is for the Hope for Fertility Foundation. We know that going through infertility can be difficult on one's mental health. So what are some of the ways that individuals and couples can deal with this on top of everyday anxieties and stresses?
Thank you, Jay. So yeah, mental health is something that I'm very passionate about. I loved hearing about all the resources that my brain is, but oh my goodness, the Jewish Foundation, that they offered so many support groups that is just so huge. And like many others have said, it's so important to tell your story and to share what you're going through. While I was going through my infertility journey, I got to a very low depressed point, and I started going to therapy with a specialist that was specifically for infertility. And one of the greatest things that she had me do was to write down my story from the beginning until the point that I was at. And that being able to like look at what I'd been through, what I had suffered, and to like kind of make it real, because I think you kind of just can get so caught up in your mind, and you just think about all of the like what's wrong with me, and it just kind of feels so low and hopeless. And so I just feel like it's so important to write your story down, and if you feel comfortable, to share it, because there's so many people out there. I mean, the statistics, 1 in 6 people go through infertility. And so if we share that and let people know what we've experienced, that can just spread so much awareness, and then help people to feel not alone and feel connected. And so I think just it's so hard, and you're not and on top of everything, just to know that there is hope out there. And I love all these foundations, and that you can receive financial help and to use those resources, to join those groups. I think I'm totally an advocate for that, and I'm grateful for people that do that.
Thank you so much, Lindy. These next set of questions is for the Cade Foundation. What are some ways the community can help support your mission? And is there any information that you could provide on grants available for families?
Absolutely. So I'll actually take the second question first, because I touched on it briefly. On our website, cadefoundation.org /resources. You can we have listings of other grants, other information outside of our own that are available. So definitely cadefoundation.org /grants. /grants for our grant. But resources, you can also find additional organizations that are available. So as far as ways that we can, the community can help support, it is honestly just an opportunity to, one, follow us on social media, stay connected. One of the things that we always recognize is that as I mentioned before, some people don't know where to go. But unfortunately, with infertility being affecting 1 in 6, everybody knows somebody. Unfortunately, you may not know that you know somebody, but we all know someone who is struggling or going through this journey. So it's important for people to understand that just sharing information can be so valuable. If you follow us on social media, reshare our information. We host what's called Coffee with Cade twice a month, where we have different people from the community, different anyone from therapists to people who are on the journey on themselves. There's medical doctors. We have different guests that are on, just sharing information about different parts of this journey. So just sharing that information, resharing our posts, resharing our different social media posts. It's so helpful. Joining our newsletter so you can share that. Coming to our events. Yes, our focus is supporting families who are overcoming infertility, but our events are open to everyone. So sometimes just showing up at a wine tasting, at a beer tasting. We have one coming up in California in the spring. Our annual gala, which we just had in November. We have different things. We have an amazing coming this March here in Maryland. We are based in Maryland. We're hosting a Ladies' Day. So it's, an opportunity for ladies to just get together, shopping. We have different demonstrations, whether it's candle making or I believe like gun shoot, well, not the actual shooting, but there's just all different kinds of activities and opportunities for ladies to just come together. Sometimes we just need that girls' day, so we are creating that in March. So just joining in, just being a part of the opportunities, the events, of course donating, that's always a given. We're never going to turn down $1. But just showing up and sharing information. I think sometimes people forget how valuable that is, just to click share, click like, click share. with the information that's going out, because you never know who needs it. And sometimes some people are still suffering in silence. They're not comfortable coming forth to say, I am 1 in 6. But if you just share that information, it's getting out to the people who need it.
Thank you so much, Kristen. Our next set of questions are for the Jewish Fertility Foundation. What would you say to someone who feels overwhelmed and isolated in their fertility journey, and how can they start finding emotional support that they need?
Yeah, thank you, MJ. It is very overwhelming and isolating to go through infertility. So that's why, we really feel strongly about the emotional support side. It's crucial to help those. It's an emotionally taxing experience. Many individuals going through it feel a deep sense of grief, frustration, loneliness, and especially when it seems like those around them are just having and growing their families with no problem. So emotional support definitely helps alleviate this isolation. It provides a safe space where they can share feelings, gain reassurance, connect with others who really understand the unique challenges that fertility does bring. So at JFF, we recognize the profound impact that a supportive community can have. We are a location-based organization, so that is sort of why we have our free local support groups in each of our locations, and then we have our national support groups as well. The goal is really to create that safe space where individuals can share their stories, build meaningful connections. And then, like I'd mentioned earlier, we have that peer-to-peer fertility buddy program too, which we actually just announced yesterday is actually going national starting in January, which is great. So we will be able to provide some more emotional support to anyone really around the country. We match women, we match men, we match intended grandmothers who are supporting a daughter or a son that's going through fertility. So just want to make sure that's clear as well. So yeah, that program really pairs, individual with someone who has kind of walked through a similar path and offers that personalized guidance and emotional support. So you can find all of our support groups if you just go to our website. It's just jewishfertilityfoundation.org. You can go to a specific city if you're in one of our locations, or you can just click on that national page and go to the calendar, and it will list out all of our upcoming support groups. Like, as I'd mentioned, there's male one, pregnancy after infertility. I know for those of us that have gone through infertility and then gotten pregnant, the anxiety does not end there. It definitely continues through pregnancy. So that support group has been really popular. LGBTQ plus community, the oncofertility, those who have like a genetic condition. I think I've covered all of them, but yeah, so definitely hit up our website. You can find all of our emotional support. You can sign up for a fertility buddy on the website as well. My email address is just Erin, ERYN at jewishfertilityfoundation.org, but definitely hop on our website and you can find any information you need.
Thank you so much, Erin, and thank you to all of our presenters and everyone for joining today. You can find today's recording on the coloradofertilityadvocates.org website. If you're interested in donating for Colorado Gives Day, you can go to coloradogives.org and search for Colorado Fertility Advocates or any associated organization. Have a happy and a safe holiday.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you all so much.